Yeah.
Yeah. It's incredible to me because like when I'm at Impact and I'm thinking like, like when we all grew up, right? Back in the day when you think of something being filmed, you always thought of those big ass fucking cameras, right? Can you see me, Shane?
Uh, yeah.
Remember those big cameras? They were real big, and then underneath it had like a little stand, and it had wheels, and like you were like in the studio and shit.
Yeah.
Remember? And then of course the ones that you put like on your fucking that you put on your shoulder. You know what I'm saying? Those real big ones.
Yeah.
And then now you look, and they're filming with just on top of a tripod, a little camera just like that. You know, that
Or an
has
iPhone.
yeah, right, right.
iPhones and iPads. Yeah.
But how ridiculously incredible is that, right?
Yeah.
You could do a full movie with an iPhone and an iPad.
Right, right. That's incredible. What's up with Bugle Beak?
You said 2 minutes. 2 minutes ago. Should be any minute.
Did you say Bugle Beak?
Yeah, that's what Mark Madden calls him. So I just do it because he always brings it up on the disco list.
I like it.
We got Shane. We might have John Arezzi today.
Who?
John Arezzi. He
That's
ran
awesome. Who?
he ran conventions and tours in the '90s, right, Conan?
Yeah.
And
Bro, this guy was like he was like a ringside photographer for Madison Square Garden, like in the '70s when Paul Lee was a photographer, and so he knew Paul Lee. And like back then, if you remember, when you used to read the wrestling magazines, Shane, remember how like in the back it would say that, you could join like Bruno Sammartino's fan club and be a pen pal and shit like that. Did you ever see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I never did that, but I always used to read them because I always wanted to see who had fan clubs and shit. And fucking like Orezi had like Freddie Blassie's fan club, right? And so obviously I had to talk to Freddie to run it, which is a very interesting story. Anyways, fast forward, I meet him in the '90s. He invites me to New York. I'd never been. He was like one of the first guys that did conventions. Like who was doing conventions in '93? Wrestling conventions. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
And then like he had this wrestling show, and he put me against Sabu, and Sabu brought his uncle out, bro. His uncle managed him, the Sheik,
Uh-huh.
who was awesome because you don't see this anymore. The motherfucker was in gimmick from the minute he walked into the dressing room to the minute he left. Okay, there was no gimmick outside in the dressing room. One of the boys go back out and do your gimmick. Like he was gimmick in the dressing room, which I thought was awesome, right? It's almost
Yeah.
like when you go to a dressing room today, and if you run into like an old school cat like Mil Mascaras, he won't take his fucking mask off in the dressing room ever. Like
Yeah, he
he's the
did.
only guy.
Yeah, he did that in. I told you I did a show with him in Japan a couple years ago, and he
Right.
wore the mask in the shower.
Right, right, right. And it almost there's a part of you that goes, "What a mark," but there's another part like, "Well, he's keeping his identity special, and I'm mad about it." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then I now know it's awesome. When I first saw it, I was kind of mad because when I met him, I wasn't even wrestling yet. They had me drive him to the airport and shoot. Like he was like only the one of the only Latin wrestlers that you ever saw put over anybody. And the guy had awesome mask and a great physique, and he did cool shit. So I was a big mark for him. And as you know, back then, Apter wasn't afraid to put him on just about all his magazine covers. Remember?
All of them. Yeah.
Right.
He
Dusty
was
too.
like he was the first luchador I ever, you know, I always associated Mexican wrestling with Mil because he was the only one I ever heard. You would see Dos Caras every now
Right.
and then,
Right.
but it was yeah. And of course, you know how Americans are on the shows anyway. You can't have but one luchador.
Right.
I'm here.
Takeover.
I'm here. I'm just
Nobody
joining, guys.
cares.
Oh,
I'm interrupting.
Nobody cares. We were having.
I'm ready.
We were actually having a good conversation, Joe.
I'm
Why'd you let him on? Why did you let him on?
He said he
Let
was
me-
ready.
Okay, let me show you this. Look
Can
what
I
I'm
be
wearing.
your co-host?
Conan, look what I'm wearing.
Oh, that's a quality shirt right there.
Bro,
High
we-
quality.
What is this? Can you read that?
I can't. Let me see.
What does it say?
Oh.
Yeah.
gotta eat. That's got the bed.
Shane, can you see that you're not on video?
No, not on video today.
I got a Creative Control Network shirt on. I just got
I
kazooed.
like it.
Just got kazooed.
I got the collar and elbow hat going. They sent me that.
No,
last week.
I got two Colin over
Throw
t-shirts.
these-
I'm gonna wear those next week. I'm gonna wear those next week. What do you guys? Have you guys talked about UFC yet? By the way,
But I do want to ask Shane something real quick. Did you see the Pacquiao Bronner fight?
No, I didn't see it. I was just keeping up with it on Twitter though.
Did you, Glenn?
did you see the gash on his forehead down to the skull?
Yeah.
Yes. No, I did not see it. I heard ESPN gave him the scores were 117, 111, 116, 116, 12, 116, 112, and they said that was generous. They said ESPN gave Pacquiao every round. My buddy that's whose brother writes for Sherdog Boxing, he said it was a complete blowout. He probably had like 11 rounds to 1. And the fact that Broner was trying to tell everybody he won the fight afterwards was absolutely tremendous.
Right.
That was like,
that's the best
good.
part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was absolutely hysterical, you know.
He and so here's what I thought going in. Of course, I know Shane, you agree with me. Manny Pacquiao, without a doubt, one of the greatest boxers of all time, right? So
No,
I
no
wanted
doubt.
to see. Excuse me.
I said no doubt.
Okay, one of the greatest boxers of all time, one of the most exciting boxers of all time. I love watching him, and I just wanted to see if because. You know, you start seeing people's skills erode, and I was wondering if this would be the fight. I didn't want it to be because I love Manny. You know, how can you not like him?
Right.
And bro, he went in there. He was faster than Bronner. Bronner's way younger than him. Can you see how old he is, Joe Bronner, and Pac-Man? And yeah,
Go just to put in perspective how great Manny Pacquiao is.
right.
If you if you compared it to UFC, right? Who in like Pacquiao was a world champion in 8 weight class divisions.
Right. Which is
I mean,
really
that's it.
4. The other ones are
That's
all
really
bullshit
4. Okay,
divisions
that's
just to make
4.
more money.
Still, but
Right,
they are,
right,
but
right. That's
still 4.
huge. That's huge.
Could you fathom like what UFC fighter could possibly have like have the range to become a world champion in 4 weight classes? You know what I'm saying? So that accomplishment in its own, like
before Saturday, I would have said Dillashaw.
right, exactly. Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's like you just look at like what Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather have done, like in their careers. It's like it's unbelievable their skill level compared to the rest of the rest of the the rest of boxing in general. How
Right.
good these guys were. 8 weight classes. That's fascinating.
Now, for hardcore boxing fans, okay, for hardcores, okay, this was a great fight because it was a shit-talking young guy. A lot of people hate Bronner. If you know, Floyd was kind of co-signing him at the beginning as the next young thing. Bronner got real crazy and wild, and they got into some sort of argument, I think, since they've made up. But this was going to be like Floyd's kind of protege. And then he did, you know, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. style and just fucking went crazy with the lifestyle. And they went in there, and bro, Manny, there were rounds. Listen to this. There were rounds because you know who I saw it with? Disco, you'll like this little group. Taya and Kevin Cross. We were in a restaurant because they showed.
Oh, is that what you're watching? That's who you, Ty, and Kevin Cross were watching the fight?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good
And if you remember, Kevin used to fight like an Indian
Bare
reservation,
Knuckles.
so
Bare Knuckles, yeah.
he knows a lot about
no,
boxing.
Kevin is a big fan of the fight game.
Yeah.
You know, like he
Yes, yes.
follows a lot of these boxing accounts and stuff, and all that,
Yeah,
you know, so
yeah,
he's
yeah.
very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Very
So
knowledgeable.
there were rounds, Shane, where they were putting up the stats, and fucking Pacquiao had outpunched him 3-1.
Yeah.
You know? And then around the 6th round, because we kept thinking, all right, he's trying to do 1 or 2 things. This is what we were thinking, because he kept bringing the hook. Every time that Pacquiao did something, he kept bringing that hook real quick. So he was trying to catch him with the hook, or he was loading up with that right. And I'm like, well, if me and Kevin Cross are seeing, do you not think Manny's already seen that shit going down? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Yeah.
Change
right.
your shit up, you know?
Right.
And so he was out drawing him in the 7th and 9th round. And it's worth watching, Shane. Go on YouTube. I'm sure it's somewhere. Look at the Manny Pacquiao 7th round and 9th round against Bronner. He looked incredible. He put some flurries on his ass, bro.
Yeah.
He gave him a 6-piece to go. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I was and then Bronner had the balls. Of course, he's probably trying to sell another fight, which at this point, I think he's something like in his last fights like 3-1. Like, you can't sell any more fights, dude, especially after this boring thing. He was like, yeah, I beat him. Everybody knows it. People are bullying him. You know, and then he challenged Jim Gray. Okay, that was even better.
Yeah.
He goes, I'll beat you up. He goes, I don't think people would be interested in that or something. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
So he's 29 and Pacquiao's 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
You know, so much props to the maestro himself, Manny Pacquiao, maybe one of the top 10 greatest boxers of all time.
Oh, top 5.
Yeah. I
Top
would've
5.
thought,
Just
but
based on
it's like-
longevity and what he's done. Bro, he's 40 years old and just wiped out a guy.
Yeah.
You know, wiped out a pretty decent boxer, you know?